Well, I was just about to make a video about the Saka problem, the fact that he's overplayed, the fact that we need a backup for him, but the difficulty in finding a backup for him that is both good enough, but that would be willing to join Arsenal. And that was in response to yesterday's video. By the way, the support on yesterday's video, absolutely unbelievable. Cannot thank you enough. But a lot of people saying Mbeumo wouldn't come to Arsenal to be on the bench. Well, you might be right. And that might be why we are seeing this today. Arsenal are showing strong interest in Leroy Sane. The winger is currently in talks with Bayern Munich with his contract expiring this summer, and he has attracted interest from several clubs. Now, that has come from Gary Jacob. Gary Jacob is a good source. He's not Mokbel or Ornstein, but he is a good source. And there was more on that. Arsenal showing strong interest in Leroy Sane that was attached to Paul Joyce as well, who normally focuses on Liverpool. But again, he is a good source of information, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into Leroy Sane. Would he work as a solution? And then at the end, I'll talk about the whole Bryan Mbeumo and why finding a backup for Saka is so difficult and why it is a problem. And there are solutions internally as well as externally. But the first thing that we have to do, of course, is have a greenery check of Leroy Sane. In fact, actually, before we get into that, if I could just ask you to subscribe. We hit 17,000 subscribers yesterday, so now we're on for 18,000. We don't stop moving. We don't stop rolling. If you could click the like button as well, I would be incredibly grateful. But Leroy Sane, I'll tell you what, I've had a sneak peek. I've had a sneak peek of Leroy Sane, 29 years old, on a free, predominantly off the right wing, you would assume, for Arsenal, left-footed, of course. 11 goals, 5 assists in just 17 starts this season, 633 minutes played. Not a huge amount because of the depth of attacking talent that Bayern Munich have. But ladies and gentlemen, if you please, the greenery. This is per 90. This is per 90 greenery. It's unbelievable. 0.6 goals per 90 from a 0.56 XG. Loves a shot, plenty of shots on target. Creatively, expected assists through the roof, unbelievably green, 0.34 per game. So actually, between his goals and expected assists, he's averaging nearly 1 a game, or 1 per 90. Pass accuracy, of course, is top. Having played at Man City, you'd expect that. Long ball accuracy. I mean, it's just touches, happy taking loads of touches. It's everything you'd want it to be, pretty much. Even in terms of recoveries and stuff like that down at the bottom. It is. If we were going through a winger that you'd want to bring to the club, he is ticking the boxes. And so, you know, I fear this is one where everyone's immediate reaction to something like this is, another City reject, another, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's a bad option. Now, do I think there are better options out there? Yes, very possibly. But as many people were saying yesterday, of the attacking players we need to sign, the Saka backup is the least important. A striker is more important. A left winger is more important. So if you're going to save money by getting someone on a free to do that, there's a lot worse options out there. I'll be honest with you, there are. Obviously, he's experienced in the Premier League. He's Premier League proven, which people love to talk about. And I do feel like he's just kind of become a little bit surplus to requirements at Bayern Munich. So I'm not as underwhelmed by this as other people have been. Now, yeah, I would rather go and get Bryan Mbeumo, as an example. I would right now. But it could be a lot worse. Other things that obviously people might look at, if we just bring this back up, his injury history. Apologies, that's probably really small on your screen. But ultimately, lots of small injuries. That's over the course of the last 4 years. This season, he had a couple of bigger ones, a groin surgery that he had, I think, at the start of the season. He only missed 1 game from it. But yeah, nothing actually major. Incredibly, for someone of his pace, doesn't seem like he's ever had any hamstring injuries, which is pretty remarkable. And so, like I said, I would not be against this signing later in the window on a free. I wouldn't be. I'll tell you one thing for free. It is a lot better than Raheem Sterling. This is not the same as Raheem Sterling, not by a long stretch. And, I mean, even last season, against us, he tore us a new one. So he's still got that pace. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in it. Now, why I wanted to talk about it, because I was going to make this video anyway. incredibly, I was going to talk about Leroy Sane as an option in the video I was about to make, and then suddenly that news came out. But it was around Mbeumo, and a lot of comments, and I don't disagree with them, said after yesterday's video where I said I wanted to bring in Mbeumo, he wouldn't join Arsenal because he doesn't want to be on the bench. And you might have a point. You might have a point. He scored 20 goals in the Premier League this season. He's 25 years old. Would he want to go and be a bench player? Maybe not. But that's the issue we have. The issue we have is when you've got a player as good as Bukayo Saka, if you are preparing someone to genuinely be able to step in for them to a point where Mikel Arteta in a easy Premier League game would genuinely be willing to rest Bukayo Saka for your backup, it has to be someone that is good, like really good, because otherwise they're not good enough for Arteta to be wanting to drop Saka or rest Saka is a better word than to play them. And so you get into this conundrum where it's like, well, you know, to bring in someone good enough to be Bukayo Saka's backup and potentially have to step in if he gets injured, they're probably going to have to be a player that is good enough to start for the majority of other Premier League teams. Now, for Mbeumo himself, or a player like Mbeumo himself, it's a question of, do you want to win or do you want to play? Right? Now, you might say, well, he's not going to join Arsenal if he wants to win. That would be the banter comment at this stage. I think we are on course to win things. Realistically, if you want to go to a club where you are in with a very good chance of winning something next season, you're looking at Arsenal, City, Liverpool. He's not going to start at Liverpool, right? With Mohamed Salah there, he's not going to start at Liverpool. Would he start at City? Maybe. But then you've got Savio, you've got other wingers. Phil Foden might end up off the right. Like, it's not a guarantee that he starts at City. Outside of that, sure, he could go and start at United, right? United are linked to him. He could go and start there. But does he want to do that at this stage? Or would he rather go and fight for a spot at a club like Arsenal and be involved in potentially winning a Champions League, a Premier League? And that's up to him. And some players will decide to do that, and some players will decide not to do that. I agree with the people that say it would be a very difficult deal to do, but it will be very difficult to solve this problem regardless. Now, in terms of who we have within the club to solve this problem, if you take Mbeumo out of this, and again, apologies for people that it's quite small, but if you take Mbeumo out of that list of attackers, right, then you still have solutions. If Rodrigo's playing on the left, Martinelli is a solution off the right. Okay, so that's one internal solution. Another internal solution, even if you don't have Rodrigo, you bring in a different left winger. Maybe it's, Nico Williams, whatever. You still have Martinelli. You still have Nwaneri. So Nwaneri is another internal solution. But like I said yesterday, we can't enter next season in a situation where Nwaneri is the first backup for Ødegaard and the first backup for Saka. Because if you end up in a position where you've got neither of them, you're completely screwed. And even if you end up in a position where one of them's injured, you're then relying on Nwaneri to be playing 90 minutes a week, possibly twice a week. And we know that physically he's not ready to do that yet. So I do think there needs to be an external solution brought in. And I look at Sane, and that could be it. If it's not Mbeumo, fair enough. I get why that was a lot of people's kind of response to that. Maybe Sane is the solution. Who else are you going to go and get on a free or for very little money that can play at that level, that has the experience to play at that level? There aren't many. Like, I like it. I like it. Fundamentally, I like it. On a free, I don't know what his wages are, actually. We're doing this on the fly. What are Sane's current wages? Sane Bayern wages. He is currently reportedly on 15 million euros a season. That's a lot. 15 million euros a season is a lot, actually. No wonder they're negotiating a new contract. 15 million euros, that's like, how much is that? It's a lot. What does that break down to? Sorry, I should have come prepared with this. That's 288,000 euros a week. So what's that like? Well, it's not horrendous, I suppose. Oh no, he's got a bonus as well. He's got a bonus as well. So he's actually earning. He's earned 20 million euros according to Capology this year, which averages out at 384,000 euros per week. That's like 320 grand a week. That's a lot. That's the thing. You get him on a free, but you pay a lot in wages for him. That's interesting. It's the sort of one I said yesterday, or I said it on stream. I'd rather hold off until later in the window. Get your business done. Fair enough. If your backup right wing is the lowest priority, you wait till the end of the window. The problem with that, Sane will be gone. Like, Sane's not going to hang around waiting for someone to pick him up on a free for the whole of the summer. Now, he might get something done with Bayern anyway. It's a tricky one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you take Sane? Do you agree that we need a right winger? Because I know some people think that we don't, but I really think we do. I don't think we can go into next season without a proper... And it's also not even just about having a Saka backup. It's also about having a left-footed winger. Like, Saka's the only one we've got other than Waneri. And again, I think Waneri is going to end up being more of a midfielder than a winger. Like, we have no other wingers that are left-footed. So it's a bit of a problem. Anyway, look, that's going to be the end of the video. I massively appreciate you for watching, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on. We went live at lunchtime today because that was when the news came out. So you'll always know when I'm going live if you turn the notifications on. But other than that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, wherever you are. And I will catch you all on the next one. Goodbye.